everyone, welcome to Cooking Matters. Today we're going to cook spaghetti and meatballs. So what we have, as you see it fell, we have ground turkey, you will need flour, we have our seasoning, garlic, onion, tomato sauce, we also have crushed tomatoes, spaghetti of course, an egg, oil, a little salt, and so let's get started. Alright, before you get cooking, make sure that you wash your hands for 20 seconds. So we're going to start with an onion. We need a little small onion. This is pretty big, so we're going to kind of cut this in half. Remember to hold your knife with your index finger, have a good grip on it, have your bird claw, and kind of chop down. You want to make sure you have a good solid surface, nothing too slippery, and then we're just going to do the boat motion. And if you don't want your onions too big, then we're going to dice them up. And to dice them a little smaller, we're going to gather them around, and then that's when you just go around. And just depends on how small do you want them. Do you want them mixed up or do you want them diced? If you're trying to hide from the kids, then you may want to mix them up, or you can even use a little chopper to get them even smaller than this, but the kids won't see them in the spaghetti. If you like more onions, then you can always include that. So as you see, we have our water boiling. You want to use probably about 16 cups of water. That equals to 4 quarts of water per package of noodles. To do your serving size, you know your little spoon that you have and has this nice little hole in it. This can be used to tell what a serving size is. So as you see, as I'm trying to put that in there, that is not quite a serving, so I have to go a little smaller. So we stick that in there, maybe add a little bit more. That can kind of tell us what a good serving size is. And we can get a little more in there, but this is a good idea to help you for you won't cook too much spaghetti. Because I know I do sometimes. I be like, ooh, that's too much spaghetti. So if you have a spoon like this, then you can use this to help you tell the serving size. So after that, I like to break up my spaghetti and then just put it in the pot. And then you just follow directions on the noodles of how long they cook. After they get through cooking, you drain them in the strainer, and then we're going to add it to the meatballs, but I'm going to show you that later. So now we're going to make the meatballs. You need 1 egg. We already put 2 tablespoons of flour in here. We're going to beat the egg first before we add it to the mix. We're going to add our ground turkey in there. All you need is just a pound of ground turkey. I'm going to set that to the side. We're going to add our seasoning in there. And remember, I added black pepper, Italian seasoning, a little salt, garlic powder, onion powder, all in here. Now we're going to add our 1 beat egg in here, and then if you want to get messy, you can use your hand or you can use a spoon. Stir it up real good with the flour, the seasoning, your egg in there, and then this is how we're going to make our meatballs. If you feel like you may need a little more flour, or you can even add breadcrumbs in here. So we're going to take 1 tablespoon of canola oil. We're going to go ahead and heat our stove up, our eye up, getting ready to put the meatballs that we're about to make in. So we have our meat here, and now you can just take a little bit of it, and then you can move in a circular motion and kind of pat it around, and you can see how it gels into a little meatball for you. And it just depends on how many meatballs. If you want to make them big meatballs, you don't want to make them too big, because that means that the hamburger meat will, the turkey meat won't cook all the way through, or even if you're using ground beef, it won't cook all through, so you don't want to make it too thick. So this is a good side of a meatball for you. So our oil is sizzling, and now we're just going to add our rolled meatball up in the oil, and we're going to let that cook. And you want to let it cook for at least 10 minutes on each side, or when you know that it's been cooked all the way through. So we have our meatballs in, they're sizzling, and as you see, some of them are getting brown, but we're going to wait. And then if you want them to cook a little faster, you can put the lid on top that help keep the heat in and help them cook a little bit more. So our noodles are done, so now let's drain them. So as you see. And rinse them off. Let the excess water get on. And there we have it. We have our cooked noodles. Now in a minute we're going to get to making our sauce and finish out the meatballs. So the small onion that we chopped earlier, we're going to add that to the skillet. You want to let that sizzle and get brown. Then once that get finished, then I'm going to show you to add the tomato sauce and the crushed tomatoes. So our onions have been brown, they clear. Now we're going to add our crushed tomatoes to the mix. Add our tomato sauce. And now we're going to let that sizzle and cook with the onions. And if you want to add some more little seasoning to it, that's fine. So I hope you enjoy making spaghetti and meatballs today. Enjoy your meal.